Hello, and welcome to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. We are back on the Zooms today with Robyn Miller. Robyn is the executive director at Watts. That is the Winchester area temporary transitional shelter based in Winchester. But we've got big news to share today. The smile on Robyn's face. I wish sometimes, Robyn, that this was television so people could see the people that I'm talking to. You're very excited about some of the news that you're going to talk about today.
Yes, I am.
So before we jump into that, though, the shelter opens for the season on November 1st. So we're recording earlier in the week. People are listening on Halloween on October 31st. The shelter is opening tomorrow as people are listening on the radio.
Yes, it is. It opens this Saturday. Our bus stop is at 329 North Cameron just for that week. Normally, we're at the Office of Elections, but because there's a massive election going on, it had to be postponed, so we moved there. We will be at Stephen City United Methodist Church. If you go to their website, I think they still have a few volunteer opportunities for people if they'd like to volunteer with the shelter. We're just so excited to get started because it's cold and it's very wet out there. As the day we're recording, it is raining. It's not fun. It's going down to almost freezing at night. So we're really excited. We're able to open a little early this year.
So for someone who may not be familiar with the logistics of how Watts operates, can you give me a rundown of how it all works?
We are a low barrier shelter, meaning we take anyone over the age of 18. They do not have to have identification. They don't have to be sober. They can remain anonymous if they choose. We will take anybody that comes to the door. Last season, we did not turn a single person away because we're able to ebb and flow depending on the size of the church from 35 to 45. So we do make a hard effort to get everybody inside we can because it is not safe to be outside, especially when it's cold outside. We move from church to church every single Saturday morning. We move to a new church. Our churches host. They not only provide a ton of volunteer support that we desperately need to make Watts a success, they provide heat and the space and all the food that we're eating that week. So it's an amazing partnership. Our churches by far are our largest funder between actual donations given to us and their in-kind donations. And we could not do this without their support.
And I want to make sure people understand this is every night of the week. So when you're saying you move on Saturdays, that's after you've done a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at a particular church.
Yes, we do. We operate for 141 days. Our day shelter will start December 1st at Montague Avenue United Methodist Church. Starting then, we operate day and night, always trying to provide someone who's experiencing homelessness a place to be, to come inside, whether that person doesn't need someplace to sleep at night because they're living in their car. But we really want everyone to come in and start getting the help they need to end their homelessness. We do have staff. That's all they do. They're helping them, working with them to set goals to end their homelessness because you do need a lot of help in that department. It's very difficult to come out of homelessness.
That's something you and I have talked about quite a bit in the past is initially that's all Watts provided was that overnight shelter. Then the warming centers came, the day shelters came, but you've really expanded on this. Let's work with all of our clients to make sure that if there's a possibility that we can get them back into a job or get them to a family member in another state where they can have a better situation. You do a lot of that case management on the backside as well now.
Yes, we do. We are always trying to help them and move them, whether it's, like you said, out of state to family that might take them, whether it's to get a job or apply for housing or go through Northwestern or go into the Mission or House of Hope or some other shelter. We're always trying to move them on. We are a temporary shelter, so you will run out of time to stay in Watts. And we always want to put them someplace safe that they can move on and better their lives. It doesn't do good for anybody. The person experiencing homelessness or Winchester, Frederick County, Clark, or Shenandoah County, that this person stays in homelessness for years. They need help, and that's our goal. We recently had a group of investors buy us a home because another item we are having difficulty with is finding a place that they can afford. Because if a person recently is found a job and it may pay well, but it usually doesn't pay enough to actually afford Winchester or Frederick County. And on top of that, this person could have back taxes they have to pay, arrears for child support they have to pay. So they can usually not pay more than $500. And that is what we charge to rent a room in that home. And we are slowly looking for another home to do it again because it's gone very well. And it really helps those people keep their jobs, be safe, and better their lives.
I had the privilege of doing a walkthrough of that house during Day of Caring. We had a team of volunteers that were there trimming some trees, I think, in the backyard and getting it all cleaned up. And I believe it was going to be move in day for
It
some
was
of
for
your
two of them.
residents there.
Yeah.
Yes, it's an incredible opportunity because I don't think sometimes people who have not had to experience something like this, who maybe they are scraping by or maybe they're not, don't
Mhm.
understand all of the barriers that come with being homeless from the outset. They may owe the electric company. So being
Yeah.
able to get power turned on in an apartment that they can afford sometimes is a barrier. So the more that you can get them out of that situation, the more likely they are to be successful.
Yeah, catch up on bills so they can maybe afford something better in the future or even purchase a home. So it's giving them that opportunity for stability to know every night I can go home and have dinner and take a shower. And it's just a great opportunity for someone to get on their feet. So it is a transitional home, but we look at the person as an individual and how long that person needs to be in that transitional phase. So we're always trying to provide them support. And we have three men living in there, and all three of them are just thriving. And that's all we prayed for, is that they would be thriving in that environment.
When we're talking about the shelter overall, how many people, when you talk about 35 to 45 people, I would imagine the vast majority of them are in that situation where they just need this boost. They just need something to kickstart them into getting back on their feet. The majority, I would hazard a guess, are not people who are perfectly happy with their situation because I can't imagine there are a lot of those.
No, there's not. Trust me. People say, well, I heard him say that. I've heard them say that too. And it's because they want you to leave them alone. They don't want to talk to you. It's a safeguard. But no, nobody likes the situation. But a lot of times they don't know how to get out of that situation and to have a safe place to sleep at night where you can actually sleep. Sleeping in a tent is dangerous. They do get attacked in them. So we want to provide a safe, warm place with people in the community to show them that they love them and they care. And that's what our churches do. They surround them with love and know your community hasn't forgotten you. 85% of our guests are from Winchester, Frederick, and Clark. After that, the next biggest one is Shenandoah County. So we want everybody in the community to know that we actually love you and we want you to get out of homelessness, and we are going to support you through that process.
Let's talk for a second about Shenandoah County because that is the big news that I alluded to
Yes,
earlier.
yes, we have been trying for 3 years. As I mentioned, Shenandoah County, unfortunately, their population in Watts has increased steadily over the years. And in the last year, it really blew up to an even higher number. So we have been trying for 3 years to get them to either create their own Watts like program or join Watts. And this year, our first church agreed to join Watts. They're taking Thanksgiving week at Stroudsburg United Methodist. And we are so excited that they're willing to join us and offer safe shelter for people in Shenandoah County that are experiencing homelessness, and letting people who are experiencing homelessness in Shenandoah County know that there are programs out there that are going to help you and provide you support that you need.
How will that work logistically? Because I know with the churches that you partner with in Winchester, Frederick County, you have that bus that we talked about earlier. They know
Mhm.
where to be to get picked up and taken to the shelter
Right.
and then they're returned. Will you have a separate bus for them in Strasburg? How will that work?
If they're already in downtown Stroudsburg, they will be allowed to walk up. I'm not going to ask somebody get all the way to Winchester so I can bus you all the way back to Stroudsburg. That's not logical. And hopefully, the local police will also bring people if they find someone experiencing homelessness. But we will be still operating our bus thanks to the United Way. We have the funds to drive that bus all over Frederick County, Winchester, Clark, and now Shenandoah County. And thanks to Mover Dudes, who moves our shelter for us every Saturday morning, they are more than willing to take it down to Stroudsburg so we can set it up in Stroudsburg United Methodist Church.
Let's talk about that for a second too, because that's a lot of cots, that's a lot of sheets, that's a
Yeah.
lot of pillows. Most of the churches take on the responsibility of the meal that you also provide, not just dinner, but you do a breakfast in the morning and even sometimes a bag lunch for them to take with them during the day.
Yeah.
There's a lot of need from that perspective that we as a community can help with.
Yes, as an example, the week we are at Stroudsburg United Methodist, Watts is technically the host because Strasburg agreed to do it at the very last minute, and I would never ask a church and now organize 14 meals. That's a lot on them. And it is a smaller church. So they need help with volunteers that week, donation of breakfast and meals. If you go to our website, you'll see the donation page and the volunteer page. We always need help with that. Luckily, Thanksgiving Day for Tessa is providing our meal for us. And we do have a couple other people that volunteered, but we always need help. And we're hoping people in the community, especially in the Stroudsburg area, might step up and be willing to volunteer their time. We need a lot of help to make it a success. And more importantly, we want to surround our guests with a lot of love, that there are people who care.
Especially on a holiday week. I mean, this is a week when most of the rest of us are gathering with our family. We're having that turkey dinner.
Yeah.
We're doing all of these things. It's the kickoff to the full holiday season. It's a very humbling experience to stop for a second and think about those who aren't in that particular situation. And what better way to do it than to donate or to volunteer, or even better, have your kids volunteer, have them help you make the food, make the dinners that you're going to take to the church that night for people. I know that because of being a low barrier shelter, you can't have children that are actually volunteering in the shelter, but there are still
Right.
ways for parents to be able to teach their children the value of giving back to their community.
Yes, definitely. It's a great way to start that conversation. It's a hard conversation to have with children, that there are people out there that don't have any family and they don't have a home. I have that conversation with my own grandchildren. It's hard, but you have to start to make them understand that you are very blessed and there aren't people that have those options. And Thanksgiving tends to be the hardest week for my guest. Watts also is the host for Christmas week. But Thanksgiving, I think because it's the first holiday, it tends to be the harder holiday for a lot of our guests when they realize they don't have any family to be with.
Give me the web address before we go to break. And then when we come back, let's talk about this. Also takes money. While it's great for people to donate, you still need actual cash. And you've got some
We
fundraisers
do.
coming up that we're going to talk about in the next segment. But what is the web address that people can go see what you need right now?
It's watts-homelessshelter.org. You'll see all our events, upcoming events, and all of our volunteer opportunities. If volunteering in a shelter is just not your wheelhouse or where you feel comfortable, we also need volunteers for our events. So there's lots of opportunity.
We're going to talk about one of those events, Cheesin' for a Reason,
Yes.
which I am all in on that name. If you haven't seen it already on social media, it is grilled cheese and tomato soup. And this is certainly the weather for grilled cheese and tomato soup.
Yes.
So we're going to come back and get details about that from Robyn in just a couple of minutes. Again, Robyn Miller is my guest today. She is the executive director at Watts. That is the Winchester area. Focus on the area now because they have expanded into Strasburg, but they are a temporary transitional shelter. And we're going to learn more about that in just a couple of minutes.
Okay. I don't think Janet knows I'm recording this. She just stepped away to get another cup of coffee, so here's my chance. Hey everyone, it's Andy from the United Way of the Northern Shenandoah Valley. And yes, Janet, if you're hearing this, surprise. We're still celebrating the Valley Today's 2500th episode and this awesome community fundraiser you came up with. Here's the deal. Between now and the end of the year, it's Janet's goal to raise $2,500 to support the great work of the nonprofits in this community. If you give just $25 or more, you're going to be entered into a chance to be a guest on the show with Janet. If you give $250 or more, we'll make you a commercial just like this one that will air on the Valley Today podcast. So go to givebutter.com/the Valley Today right now before Janet realizes that I've hijacked her airtime. She's walking back in, cup of coffee in hand, gotta go. Remember to donate between now and the end of the year and support the great work of so many nonprofits and celebrate 2,500 episodes of the Valley Today.
We are back on the Valley today with Robyn Miller. She is the executive director of Winchester Area Temporary Transitional Shelter. We all call it Watts. We are talking today about the opening of their season. It is opening on Saturday, November 1st, tomorrow. As those of you who are listening on the radio, could be last week if you're listening on the podcast. But we talked about how the shelter works, why it's so important for all of our community residents to be able to have an opportunity for a warm, safe place for them to sleep at night. And Robyn, we talked to in the first segment about all of the things that go into putting those shelters together, having that opportunity for people. And while it's great that I can go to Costco and buy 10 giant containers of Folgers and I can bring you coffee and creamer and all of these sorts of things, you still need actual donations. You need money because there are things that you work with our homeless population for, getting IDs, getting them bus tickets to a safer place. There are things that just require cash.
Very true. Yes. And we do have trained staff there. We have a lot of volunteers. You are dealing with people who might not be sober and may be suffering from mental illness. So you do have to have trained staff there to handle them and calm them down and make sure they stay with us the entire time. And as you mentioned, we do buy a lot of bus tickets, a lot of train tickets. We have to then get them to the train station. Perfect example is we do have guests who have court appearances in Shenandoah County. There's no Uber to Shenandoah County. You can get to Shenandoah County, but you can't get back. So we have to drive them down there because we don't want them to go back to jail. If they're doing everything that court has ordered them, we want them to show up. And so they don't enter back into jail. So that's always our goal and what we're working for. Getting an ID is $10. Getting a driver's license is $25 to $35. Even getting a birth certificate is $14. So getting all of those items is important to helping them end their homelessness. And there's always a fee associated. If you apply for an apartment, you're paying $40 to $45 a person to apply for that apartment. A lot of our guests don't always have that cash on hand. They may be working, but they just started a job. So there's a lot of expense that we try to help them with so they can get out of homelessness.
You do several fundraisers throughout the year. We've talked a lot about the coldest night of the year, which will happen,
Yeah.
I assume, again in February. I'll have
Yes.
you back and we'll talk about that again then. But this Cheesin' for a Reason, I think, is a really cool out of the box fundraiser that anybody can participate in. I mentioned before we went to break about parents being able to educate their kids and let their kids know that this is a situation and that they too can make a change. Coming to fundraisers like this is a great way for parents to start that difficult conversation.
It is. It's a fun family event. There's lots of kids' activities, and it does give them an opportunity to talk about why we're fundraising. Cheesin' for a Reason, like you said, is a grilled cheese and tomato soup extravaganza, which once again, Strasbourg coming behind and helping us. This is their idea, and they've actually helped us. Theirs is actually the weekend before ours to make this event a success. Strasbourg has been doing it for many years, and it is a massive success. They're coming along beside us to make it a success in Winchester because it not only helps Watts, because it is a fundraiser, but more importantly, it's helping those downtown businesses. Homelessness does affect those downtown businesses, and everybody knows that. So we really want to support them because those downtown businesses support us. They supply meals to Watts. They donate to Watts. They donate to all of our fundraisers, and we could not be a successful organization without them. And we want to bring business downtown to them. Winchester is an amazing, wonderful city with great restaurants and shops, and we really want people to come and see it and see how nice it is and enjoy the food. You'll get a tasting of a grilled cheese sandwich and a tasting of tomato soup. It's a contest. You'll vote on who did the best. We have 12 different restaurants and food trucks participating, all within the Loudon Walking Mall. So it's not a lot of walking. We would love everyone to come downtown and see how fun and great Winchester is and enjoy some grilled cheese and tomato soup, which is my guest's favorite meal. So it honors them, it honors the city of Winchester, and it's just going to be a fun day.
So it happens on Saturday, November 8th. It's from 11 until 5, but you do have to have a ticket, and your ticket is the time that you're actually going to come and do the tasting, which I think is also brilliant because you've got several different time slots. So if I've got something going on in the morning, I can pick a
Yes.
time slot later in the day and still participate.
Yeah, 11 to 1, 1 to 3, and 3 to 5. Those are the time slots. You will not be able to buy tickets that day because we do have to tell the restaurants who have to order food for the event, who's coming and how many are coming. So we do need you to buy a ticket online. If you come during your allotted time slot, you'll be given a wristband so the restaurants know you are a paid participant and you can come and taste everything they're making and hopefully frequent them later for a drink or a lunch or dinner, depending on when you're there, and visit the shops and support them and buy some items because we're almost at Christmas. So it's time to start shopping.
And I want to be clear that this is not going to be a simple grilled cheese and tomato soup like we would make in our kitchen. These restaurants really
No.
go all out to put their spin on grilled cheese and tomato soup.
Yes, it is a competitive competition. I'm actually really looking forward to El Centro because she goes, "Oh, I have a special Mexican tomato soup that we never make. And I've always wanted to make it." And I'm like, please make it. I want to taste that. So I'm very excited to try what they're all doing. Cider Hill already has an amazing tomato soup and grilled cheese that they were introducing. So I'm really excited to try how everyone has a little bit of a unique spin on something very simple, which is grilled cheese and tomato soup.
Will you have other vendors that are set up selling other things as well?
We do. We have a small vendor court. We'll have dirty soda there and some other items. That's open to the public. Of course, anyone can visit the vendors, but we hope that you'll buy a ticket and also frequent them. We do have 20 vendors coming to the event.
Will there be an information table set up with Watts so that people can stop and just say, hey, maybe they're hearing our conversation now and they want a little more information or they want to talk to a human about what it is you actually need? Will you be available that day as well?
We will. We will have an information booth there that is just for Watts. We'll also be selling t-shirts there. So yes, please stop by, even if you don't want to buy a t-shirt, and ask any questions or bring a donation. We always need coffee and creamer, plates and bowls because as I mentioned, we do open a warming center in December where we always have food available for people experiencing homelessness to come inside and hopefully have a hot cup of coffee or hot chocolate and just get out of the cold and take a shower. We always need toiletries too for people so they can get clean.
Do you need sponsors still for this event? I know as we're recording, it's just a week or so out, but I can't imagine that if somebody calls you up and says, hey, we want to give you $1,000, you'll be like, oh, yes, we will take that.
Yes, we do. We need one more welcome sponsor. So if anyone would like to sponsor, it's $2,000 and we would love to have you come and sponsor our event. So please, yes, reach out. Hosting these events costs money. We have bands playing and we have a magician and a balloon artist there. So yeah, all of that costs money and it helps cover our costs so the event can be successful for everybody.
The other way that a lot of people can help, and sometimes they don't think about, is you've got the Thanksgiving 5K that's coming up
Yeah.
on Thanksgiving that you partner with the Frederick County Parks and Rec for. Businesses can host their own events, or if they do in house fundraising things, they can do that and designate Watts as a beneficiary.
And we have a lot of businesses that do that. A lot of them will do a Christmas collection of items and food items for our warming center or underwear and t-shirts because as I mentioned, we do have showers. So we always like to make sure they have clean underwear and clean t-shirts to wear under their clothes or warm winter gloves. We go through a lot of warm winter gloves, waterproof gloves because you are dealing with snow. Last winter, we had to stay operational for 24 hours a day for 22 days because we had a bad winter last year. We had a lot of snow and ice. So we always need gloves. We did serve 212 people during those 5 months. So it's a lot of people coming through and they do need gloves and t-shirts and underwear also.
If you're a runner anyway, signing up for this Thanksgiving 5K is a no brainer. It checks so many boxes.
It does. It gives you a good start for the day of eating. And if running's not your thing, it's not my thing, you're welcome to walk. And if you don't even want to walk, we still need volunteers. And that's something any age person can volunteer. And once again, if you go to the website, you can sign up to volunteer or run or walk, whatever you prefer. It's a really fun day.
Is there a central location where throughout the winter people can bring you donations? I know you rotate through your churches, so you
Yes.
don't necessarily want people showing up at a random church with
Yeah.
a box of something in the back of their
Right.
car. How would they go about getting you donations throughout the winter?
Until we open the day center on December 1st, Watts does have an office. Finally, after 15 years, we do have an office space that we operate out of, and they're welcome to come to our office. It's on 117 West Boscawen, and they're welcome to drop things off there. When the warming center opens, we do ask people to bring it there because that's most likely where it'll get used or pulled from for the night shelters. And our Amazon wish list will deliver it straight to that warming center. So they're there to collect those items. We don't just feed our guests. All the leftover food we have goes into the free fridge, which is right outside that church's door. So we're not just feeding our guests, but we're feeding a big chunk of that neighborhood there because we have filled up that free fridge 5 times in a day and it gets emptied 5 times in a day. There's a lot of people out there struggling. And if you don't have to worry about food, that's one less thing to worry about.
Where will the warming center be located?
It'll be at Montague Avenue United Methodist Church.
So tell me one more time, where can people go to buy a ticket for Cheesin' for a Reason, to see your list of donation needs, to say, hey, I want to volunteer. What do you need me for? Where is the best first place for them to go?
Go to our website, which is Watts, WATTS, homelessshelter.org.
And then you have social media. You're on Facebook. People can find all of that sort of information there as well.
Yes, please follow us on Facebook or Instagram. We post, especially in the season, usually several times a day, of items we might need or good news that's coming out. We hope to have some good news in the next couple of weeks about one of our guests moving into his new home. We try to really promote the good things that are happening in our community and those people that helped us along the way be a success.
And if you're listening right now and you're a member of a different church in Strasburg or in Shenandoah County, and you think this is something that your church should be a part of or want to help, they can reach out to you and say, hey, we don't know if we're capable or ready, but you can give them all that information and say, this is what we would need. Here's how you can do it at this level or at that level.
Come and volunteer when we're there. That way you actually get to see how we operate, who we're serving, maybe provide a breakfast. Breakfast is very simple and not expensive for a church, or a dinner. So you get to see how we operate, how it's safe. It is a safe facility. It is our goal always to make it a safe facility because people won't come into a homeless shelter if they don't feel safe. And that is always our goal, that they and their items that they bring with them are safe. We work very hard to be a safe facility. We do carry the insurance, so it is no risk to the church. It's just a great way to get your congregation out there volunteering with people who are in desperate need of shelter.
Robyn, thank you for the amazing work that you and your team do. Without you guys at the helm, us as a community wouldn't really know where to start. So I appreciate you leading the charge.
Thank you so much.
Before I wrap up for the day, as Robyn mentioned, there is a lot going on this weekend, including the Strasburg Grilled Cheese and Tomato Soup Festival. As you're listening,
sold out, though.
It is sold out, but it would be a great way to walk around downtown and see how it works, and then go get your ticket. Stand on the street and go online and buy your ticket for the one in Winchester.
Just go down and support Strasburg. They have a beautiful downtown and a lot of fun restaurants and stops too. So please go and support Strasburg.
A couple other things happening this weekend. The Walk to End Alzheimer's is happening at the MSV tomorrow. I talked with Shalini about that a couple of weeks ago. American Fright Night, I talked with them in Shenandoah County. As a matter of fact, Carrie Hahn and I had that conversation. It opens up tonight, actually, as people are listening on the radio. And there's a huge block party and a North End welcome sign unveiling happening in downtown Winchester tomorrow as well. And of course, with tonight being Halloween, be careful and watch out for all those trick-or-treaters. I will be back on Monday. I'll have a brand new episode of The Valley Today for you just a few minutes after noon.